Welcome to the Crimeycade Podcast. I am the mad conservative crime fighter back once again. And can you believe it is the 1 year anniversary of this podcast? Very first Crimeycade Podcast I taped on February the 8th. 1 year ago. Now, February the 8th in 2024 was a wrestling show day. So I was it's basically attending the all women's wrestling tournament, the Robin Casper Women's Memorial Tournament last Saturday. Show went about almost 2 hours. Got to see. It was just kind of heavy in my. Kind of heavy for me. A lot of emotions. And seeing people I hadn't seen in quite some time. And having to talk to a few people I haven't talked to in quite some time. And somebody I was close to a couple of years, passed away a couple of years ago due to cancer. And I wish things were back the way they were a couple of years ago, but not going to happen. Or at least not now. Or, well, where am I going with this? Let's put it this way. I kind of had some things to get off my chest at the beginning of the podcast, but I had to. I would have had to take the time of writing up everything I wanted to say, and I just didn't have time. Just didn't get put together, and so I'm just going to hold it over to next week's podcast. But in the meantime, I'm heading back to the Goblin Ghost Arcade this weekend. And it's going to be a best of 7 challenge. A new best of 7 challenge. And so there's a bit of a trailer put together, and I want to show that off before we bring our guest. And here we go. Get this up here. Here we go. The winner of the NFL Blitz Tournament is once again Nora Vale.
Stephen Lucas challenged me to a best of 7, and I accepted it because I had a reason for it. Because, you see, unlike some people, I don't run away from a challenge.
Master of Ceremonies J.P. Pitts keeps upsetting certain people, to which I'm going to have to put my foot down with him very soon.
Whether it's a best of 7, a 1v1 tournament match, or, in some cases, a best of 10.
Neither medic. There's been many accusations that Norvell is not good at anything other than fighting games.
Steven, I can't wait to play you in this best of 7. I mean, we both know you kind of have an advantage because it's all 1,025 games. Well, 26 after today. But other than that, all I gotta say is, man, just come on by, have some fun, and may the best man win.
Norbert, I'll see you next Monday. JP Pitts, I'll be seeing you too. There you have it. The best of 7 challenge that I will be having with Norbert Vale next Monday. And to greet all the people in the chat, XXXX Pancreas, A-Train has joined us, and Tracy Gleave has also joined us. Jet Cogs, and let's see, Stupendous Man Claudio's here with us tonight. But in the green room, and waiting he is our guest tonight, and gonna throw up this little introduction. And join us tonight, the host of one of the hosts of the Kombat Dads Podcast, and also the who has his home arcade. It's called the Wicked Arcade.
Yes.
Well, if you want to introduce yourself, I mean, I can step aside and let you do that.
No, you're perfectly fine.
But he is the host of the Kombat Dads Podcast. It's relatively new, and you have a arcade restoration YouTube channel. But your home arcade is called the Wicked Arcade, and
yes,
Jojo Robles.
Yes,
welcome
thank
to
you.
The podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I've been actually binge watching a bunch of your episodes, and I'm a fan for sure.
See, I've only been doing this a year, as I mentioned at the top of the podcast, and I had to find, as I'm transitioning out of the pro wrestling stuff, I had to, if I was going to go all in on gaming, and I've wanted to for quite some time. This was a way for me to kind of, it's a huge step is starting a podcast and having chats with other gamers because, you know, Gulping Those Arcade used to do player profiles, and Doc Mack hasn't had time to do these. Now he does this weekly Monday Mystery Game Reveals, and he's been doing the Thursday, I guess, gameplay challenge with his colleague, Jeremiah. But he hasn't been able to do the Gulping Ghost podcast nor do interviews with other gamers. So I stepped up to the plate. And we're at episode, I guess, 47. So I've done 47 episodes over, well, technically 48 because there was 1 week, a couple weeks, 2 weeks ago, I did 2 podcasts in 1 week. And it's like, it was just an extra because he wanted on here so bad, but it was a Wednesday night. He could only come on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And he was a repeat guest. So I guess 48 podcasts.
So how are you liking the podcast stuff so far?
So StreamYard is what I'm using. I'm not sure if you're using the same thing I am.
Yeah, we use StreamYard as well.
You do use StreamYard. Okay. This setup has made things relatively easy.
Definitely.
Studio OBS or Streamlabs OBS is really for doing gameplay streams, but not really multi-host, I guess, podcasts.
Yeah, definitely. When we first started, we were using OBS, and just also the quality that OBS would have, because you would have to open up another website and then bring their URL in, and then it was just a big pain in the butt. So I did a lot of homework before we actually settled with StreamYard, and once we got it, we just fell in love with it. So it's been amazing to us so far, for sure.
So tell me about yourself. I guess we'll start from the very beginning. Just giving me quick overview of what you're doing currently.
So right now we're mainly focused. But right now we're mainly focused on the podcast. I am co-host at the Kombat Dads Podcast with me and my buddy Matt from the Broken Laser. This was an idea that we put together a while back, just never really actually jumped into it. So as of recently, we were like, look, at the top of the year, we're just going to start getting into it and be serious about it. So we just just went full in. We've had a couple of interviews so far. Our first one was Mike Jensen from your MK Arcade Source, who's a huge staple in the arcade community, especially with restorations and stuff like that. And then our second one, we actually got Carlos Pacina, who played the original Raiden, to hop on, which was really fun. And we actually got a couple more already lined up that are that we plan on interviewing very soon. But for the most part, I've kind of been holding off on anything on my Wicked Arcade channel. That one's mainly focused on restorations that I do. I started that channel probably in 2017 or 2018. Didn't really take it too serious. I would just post random stuff that I would do, and just finally started getting serious about it and just documenting everything that I've been doing on getting these cabinets and completely restoring them.
So I have a video, one of your videos, your walkthrough videos, and we'll just load this up
Yes.
here. Because we had the question, what cabinets do we have in that home arcade?
Ooh, there is about 15 total in here.
So I only have 5 in mine right now. Now I have those. I have a few arcade one-ups that sit on a table. I've not. Oh, let's look at here. We got Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition, and I see a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles right next to it. My Crimeycade, that brief shot, 4 of my games were in the shot. So now I'm like using it to cut my promos. I'd like to get some pinballs in there, but I don't have any.
Oh,
They're
yes,
all priced
for sure.
out.
Yeah, a goal of mine is to eventually get a pinball machine. I don't know anything about pinball machines, but I'm sure if I was able to learn these cabinets and the wiring, I'm sure of course it's more wiring, more switches and stuff like that. But I'm sure over time I'd be able to do it. But my Grell is a T2. I really want a T2 pinball machine.
Now we're looking at a project machine. Well, a couple of them. Do you have anything in mind for the one?
Well,
on the
actually,
right?
that one right there, that big buck hunter, that one is the next cabinet that I'm going to start working on. I picked that one up and I just could not get that one to work. I think it was a problem with the board. So after a while, I was like, I don't have any shooter games here in the collection. So I had threw a Wii U in there. And then of course I had bought, the guns and stuff like that. And I had bought some hunting games, and people just weren't playing it whenever they would come over. So what I already ordered a bunch of stuff. I have a buddy who's working on the custom art. I'm actually going to make that one a Guitar Hero cabinet. So that one's a project that I'm going to be working on. I'm going to start on it here in a couple of weeks.
The other one that was empty had no.
That Mortal Kombat, yeah, that's an empty Mortal Kombat 1 cabinet.
Oh, okay. So we had questions in the chat already. A-Train, asked, what cabinets do we have in the home arcade? Well, yeah, we're showing them right now. They're talking about Continental Circuit in the chat for some reason. I don't know why. But anyway. So tell me how you got started into gaming. What was the hook?
Ooh, it would be Mortal Kombat. Whenever I was a kid, I remember that my dad, he had bought me and my brother a Super Nintendo, so of course we started playing because it came with Super Mario All Stars. So that was the main game that we played, and he had worked at a grocery store. And right outside of the grocery store, they had a Hollywood Video, and they had a Little Caesars. So every Friday he would go rent a movie for him and my mom, and then he would bring us a random game. And so we would just play all the random games. And then so once at school, Mortal Kombat hit the scene for Super Nintendo, everybody just started, lending it to each other and stuff like that, and just got completely hooked on it. And yeah, ever since then, just mainly everything that Midway has put out, I'm just a huge fan of.
I see Sonic the Hedgehog in an arcade cabinet.
Yeah, that one there, that one's a custom cabinet that I did for my daughter. She loves Mario and Sonic. So that one, I it actually has a commercial TV inside of it, and there it says the Cassie Cade, because her name is Cassie. So I put the buttons to represent Mario and also to represent Sonic. So most of the time, that's either only playing Sonic games or Mario games. So whenever she's in here hanging out with me, that's the cabinet that she's usually playing.
There was apparently a Sonic the Hedgehog arcade game that was based on the Genesis,
Mm-hmm.
but your time limit is really low. So they were trying to make you breeze through the levels as fast as possible. And there's
Yeah.
the podcast setup. Kind of similar. Well, I don't have a giant microphone, but the computer cabinet is kind of similar. I see a bunch of artwork.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of random vinyls that I have there hanging up in my garage of just some of my favorite albums that I hear that I have on Spotify that I listen to a lot. Just random action figures, and then here's all of the Mortal Kombat memorabilia, and of course all the Mortal Kombat cabinets there.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, got all 5 of them.
Yeah, actually, the trilogy cabinet, that one is a custom build. It's in a Mortal Kombat cabinet that I had got that was very heavily water damaged, so I had to put a bunch of new stuff onto it. Got a custom art set made, and that one is actually running the PC version, because the PC version of Trilogy doesn't have any load times on it. So that one makes it seem like it's, like as if it's, nature to, of course, playing any of the Mortal Kombat cabinets. It is running an actual arcade CRT in it. So that one was a really fun build. And as of lately, I've been actually playing that cabinet a lot.
Now, say Mortal Kombat was your hook. Was that the very first game you ever played?
No, the very first game I've ever played was would probably be Mario Bros on the original Nintendo. That would be the first game that I've ever played. And I played Mad
Super
Max
Mario
a lot.
or just regular Mario?
I think it was it was Mario Bros.
On the arcade or just a console?
No, that was the home port. The first arcade cabinet I ever played was a Mortal Kombat 2 arcade cabinet. That was the first arcade cabinet I've ever played.
So, okay, so console was first, and then you played the arcade. Played Mortal Kombat on the arcade first. Now, what drew you to Mortal Kombat?
Ooh, just the realism that it had whenever you went up to the cabinet, because most games that I played up until then, everything was very cartoony. So the first time I ever laid my eyes on it, yeah, Street Fighter, of course, was also very cartoony. So they were really fun games for what they were. But whenever I first laid my eyes on Mortal Kombat and I saw, I was like, hey, these are real people here. And just seeing them get hit, and then you see a little blood come out, and then when I first saw the fatalities, I was like, yeah, this is it. So just ever since then, just been completely hooked on it.
I see that marquee is custom.
Yeah, that one has it's completely custom as far as artwork from top to bottom. Also got a custom move bezel there on it, with all of the moves and fatalities and stuff like that for all the characters, and then the move sets for all the bosses and stuff.
Yeah, that's something to see that trilogy in a MK cabinet, and that had a few extra characters from the arcade release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that version also made
the
it made the boss players playable. From jump, you don't have to unlock them or anything like that.
So, what all do you do in the gaming scene currently?
Mainly,
go ahead.
No, no, I'm
Keep
sorry.
interrupting.
Mainly arcade restoration. That's mostly what I'm known for in the arcade community is just arcade restoration. I don't only do Mortal Kombats, even though Mortal Kombats are my favorite, the Midway style cabinet. But every cabinet that I have here in my collection, I've got it, and it was pretty much beat up, or it was converted to another game. Um, I think the only game that I've ever got in the collection that was in its dedicated cabinet was my Mortal Kombat 4. Mortal Kombat 1, 2, Trilogy, Ultimate, the my WrestleMania, my Blitz cabinet, the Ninja Turtles, like all of those were converted to different games. All the art, most of them were stripped completely. So all of them usually were, all of them, I had put new art on them, new joysticks and stuff like that. Get all the monitors, pull every monitor out, do cap kits and stuff like that to try to get them to where, they're almost showroom floor, pretty
Now,
much.
are all these in the basement?
No, they're actually in my garage.
We're on a garage. Okay.
Yeah, they're in my garage.
Now, I guess when you so they're in the garage. Where do you park your cars?
The cars, they stay outside. Yeah. Me and my wife had a big debate about that. And but as I've started collecting cabinets a long time ago, so she was pretty much like, all right, cool. So I was like, you get the rest of the house, y'all can do whatever you want with the rest of the house, decorate it however, as long as I get the garage and get kind of like my me space. Um um, Everything is all good. And then that's a claw machine that I picked up not too long ago. So the cool thing about that claw machine is during Halloween, we open up the garage and I let all the parents and the kids come in and they get to play the games. And what we do is we take out all of those plushies that are in there, and we usually get Halloween plushies, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll set it to where, well, you can't set a claw machine to free play, but I add a bunch of credits in there and I set the claw to where you get a prize every time. So the kids will come in, they'll get candy, they'll get to play it, get themselves a toy out of there and stuff like that.
Here's NFL Blitz. I was
Yes,
going
there's
to
a
mention whoever failed was the winner of the Blitz tournament. That's who I'm playing this Monday. I forgot to mention that before I even brought you in, but I guess I was in a hurry to get the interview going. So
not a problem.
anyway, so so this is what I did. My arcade games were in the basement of my house. If I wanted to get any more, I did not want to have to deal with stairs. Because
Yes.
getting them in the basement is hazardous because you're like, and they end up sliding down the stairs,
Yeah.
which is probably not the best thing for them. But unless you can disassemble them partially, like pull the monitors out and take the back door off and lighten the load quite a bit, those are a nightmare to get up the stairs.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I wish we had but down here in Texas, we don't, there's no basement. Well, they're few and far between. There is some houses with basements, but it's few and far between.
Why
Um,
is that? I didn't know that.
no.
So houses don't have basements in
No,
Texas.
yeah, not in Texas. Yeah, like I said, there's some here and there. But it's not common at all.
Is that due to the hurricane threat? Or is that
Possibly.
because
Yeah, I'm
usually
not
it's
sure.
cooler in the basement than it is upstairs,
Yeah.
especially in
Well,
the summer.
yeah, but down here we have really, really high humidity. So I can only imagine how muggy it would be inside a basement here in Texas. And I'm
Plus, you
sure
gotta
that
do
it
the
would probably,
humidifier.
yeah, for sure. And I'm sure if someone, like, if I had a basement and put here in Texas and put my cabinets in there, I'm sure they would get beat up pretty bad from all the moisture, because our humidity here is horrible. It's usually at a 99% humidity.
That's surprising because I've been down to Texas one time, although I went to Dallas. It was so hot, but it
Oh
was
yeah,
dry heat.
yes, yes.
Can't imagine it was like super humid down there. But
Oh
what
yeah,
do I
yeah. It
know?
gets
What do I
extremely hot.
know? Okay.
Yeah, usually during the summertime, I do have a little like a little rolling AC that I'll put on or I'll turn on and have it set in here. Because you know it can get extremely hot here in the garage. There's times where for a while I was doing playthroughs on my YouTube channel, and I would just be in here sweating bullets from where it was just so hot. And I would my first one I did, I had a fan facing towards me, but the fan was just too loud, so you would hear the hum of the
Yeah.
fan during the playthrough. So I just said, you know what, I'm gonna have to stick it out and do an hour playthrough. Um, and once I'm done, turn all the cabinets off, go inside and cool off.
So let's talk about Wicked Arcade. How you start? What was the first cabinet you acquired, and what game did you acquire first?
My first cabinet that I picked up was a Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet. I got it up in Austin, which is about a 45-minute drive for me. The guy had posted it for sale for $50. I saw it on Craigslist. And it was completely gutted. It had no monitor, it had no control panel. It had the control panel box, but not, the actual control panel. It was missing everything. No wiring, nothing in there.
Just an empty
So
cabinet.
just an empty cabinet. Yeah, just wood.
Wow.
Went over there, picked it up, and that was before I even knew how to work on any cabinets. I had just bought it and didn't know what I was gonna do. Um, and then slowly but surely, I got into a bunch of Facebook groups of just arcade restoration and parts for sale and stuff like that. And so I would little by little, every check I would buy, control panel and then buttons. And then I had to figure out a monitor and stuff like that. And I remember I would I would ask around to people that were, in Texas and stuff like that about helping me put it together. But it seemed like a lot of people didn't want to help. They would rather have told they were telling me, oh, well, just bring it to me and I'll charge you to put it together. But I wanted to learn how to do it. So I just said, you know what, the hell with it. So I started looking into YouTube, and then I found a YouTube channel called Your MK Arcade Source. And
Mhm.
that channel, it's just everything Mortal Kombat and Midway arcade restorations. And so I would just study his videos. And then as far as the electronics goes, I ordered the manuals for the original cabinets on eBay, and I just read those manuals from front to back. I read everything in there to where I can damn near wire these, with my eyes closed from so much homework that I did on them. And just ever since then, it was just an addiction. Just after I was done with it, it's like, okay, what's my next one? What's my next one? And then finally, I said, you know what? I'm gonna just get all the Mortal Kombat cabinets. And so that's how I started. I mainly wanted to focus on getting all the Mortal Kombats. And so that right there, those are all the autographs and stuff like that from all the actors that I have hanging there above the cabinet. So that right there, that back wall is pretty much my Mortal Kombat wall.
How many? I've listened to some of your videos. How many of the Mortal Kombat actors have you actually met so
Funny you
far?
asked that. I haven't met any of them in person. Carlos Messina, of course, we did an interview with him, but I didn't actually meet him in person. Here in a couple of weeks, we're actually traveling to like a small con that they're going to be at. And for my first time meeting them, it's going to be nice because it's going to be Carlos Pacina, Daniel Pacina, Liz Malaki, the original Sonya, Ho Sung Pak, the original Liu Kang, and Anthony Marquez, who played the original Kung Lao. So it's a lot of them to be able to meet in person for the first time. Very excited. We're also hosting a Mortal Kombat tournament. I'm actually taking two of my cabinets. I'm taking Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 down there with me, so that way they can do a tournament with those cabinets.
Now I'm up in the Chicago area, or well, I'm in the state of Illinois, so I kind of run into the Mortal Kombat characters every so often because they all live up there.
Yeah.
They all come to Galloping Ghost Arcade, and they also go to the gaming conventions in the Midwest. So both Bacinas, although Carlos is not often seen, it's Daniel that I see more often.
Oh yeah.
John Parrish, of course, is involved with Galloping Ghost Gamma, which is the gym up there. next
Okay.
door to the arcade. Leah Montenegro, I see every so often. Who else? Gosh, Tony DeVizio.
Ah,
Seen him multiple
Richard
times.
DeVizio.
Richard DeVizio. God. I was trying to remember the name. I wasn't sure. I was like, it was DeVizio. I know that much. Kano. Kung Lao sings in a band, has performed at the Midwest Gaming Classic multiple times. Who else? Last year at Midwest Gaming, I believe the actor who played Katana, Jade, and
Catalan.
Becky was
No, Becky Gable did the female ninjas on Ultimate.
okay. No, that's who I meant. That's who was there.
Okay, cool.
Carrie Hoskins was the hardest to track down. I only got to meet her because she was she played the villain in was it Galactic Tank Force?
Yeah.
Pinball.
Mm-hmm.
So finally got to meet her, but she was the hardest one to track down. I believe I've run into who's the actor who played Shao Kahn.
Oh, Brian Glenn.
Yeah, he showed up. He was real muscular, and I was like, he's a celebrity.
Oh yeah.
The question is, who was it? And it was like, because he was still very muscular and chiseled. So,
yes. Yeah, he looks very good for his age.
I don't know how old he is anyway, but so Gall's Mortal Kombat cabinets, how active are you in the competitive scene?
Ooh, one thing that I do tell a lot of people is I wish I was as good at playing the game as I am at restoring the cabinets. When it comes to playing them, I'm not really that good. Any of my family members that come over, I give them a beating. But anybody that plays it, regularly, because even though I have them here, I don't play them as often as some people think. Because of course, being a dad and being a husband, I got work. I come home, we got to get dinner ready, we got to get the kids ready for school and stuff like that. So whenever I do get the chance to play them, usually we have company over. So I'm kind of like talking to the company and barbecuing and stuff like that. So I don't get to play them as much as I wish I could.
I don't get to play my stuff as much either. Look at this back room. Let me widen this shot out a little bit. There's a Mortal Kombat mini cab in the corner. Well, that's an arcade one-up. There's Nintendo stuff. Gosh, my room's cluttered. I have Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Wii. I had the arcade cabinets in my garage, which I didn't even mention. So I had a new garage built with a room added on. The arcade cabinets came out of the basement and were put in there, so I can, if I wanted to trade a game or get more games or get a pinball, they had to go on the ground floor because
so they're easily accessible.
Well, that and it's too dangerous to move them around stairs, and I'm not muscular at all. Yeah. I'm not going to do it again. If you lose your footing on the stairs while you're trying to get that thing out of the basement, you're through.
Oh yeah. Yeah, these cabinets are 500 pounds plus. So they're very, whenever we moved from the house that we were at before here to this house, God, I couldn't tell you how much of a pain it was. Because we had got a U-Haul with a ramp, so I had to take them up the ramp, bring them over here, take them down the ramp. So yeah, I completely understand what you're talking about. These bad boys are heavy.
Well, on a ramp, you can extend the ramp far enough, then it's like you can just wheel them down. But yeah, running up and down the stairs, no.
Yeah, for sure.
Plus, you probably have more room for more bodies to control it. staircase out or stairwell out of the basement.
Yeah.
It's only wide enough for one person.
Well, yeah, yeah. It's gonna go one way quick.
Yeah. Um. So you're not real involved in the competitive scene, which is well, I'm not either. We had the Blade Wars tournament up in Chicago every so often, and they've thought they were going to do MK1, but now they changed their mind, and I'll bring it up later. Um, have you participated in any tournaments? Do you have any, let's say, signature gaming achievements?
I
Um,
don't, unfortunately. Where I'm at, I'm in a very small town.
mhm.
Um, I'm north of San Antonio and south of Austin. I'm dead smack in the middle. Um,
Middle of nowhere.
Yeah, so there's not really much around here that that goes on and stuff like that. There is a place here called the D-pad, and they have arcades and stuff like that in there, but they mostly do like card games and stuff like that. But
Mm,
yeah, no tournaments. I would love to be a part of one, or but as far as competitive play and stuff like that, unfortunately, I have no experience in any of those fields.
that's well, maybe you know what? You're gonna host a tournament in your arcade.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I've actually thought about that, about hosting something like that and doing like a cool Mortal Kombat tournament here out of the garage. But I don't know how my wife would feel about 15 strangers um, coming, and hanging out in the garage. But yeah,
Well,
that
for
would
a
that would be something cool.
scheduled party,
Yeah,
I mean, she couldn't be throwing too much of it because it's like just I don't know a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon,
yeah.
middle of the day. You invited them. I mean, they may make a cash donation to help you fund this operation.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. And I've been recently hanging out with a couple of YouTube guys that they're real big on the fightcade scene and stuff like that. So I've been thinking about jumping into there, and I've jumped on to fightcade a couple of times, and God, those a lot of people on there are just crazy good. Um,
Yeah, I can.
so yeah, I backed out pretty quick.
I did get yeah. At some point, I installed 5K on my computer so I could practice up for a tournament. And yes, uh, you have to be real choosy about who you play against because they do have a letter next to each name that tells them where they're ranked or how skilled of a player they are.
Yeah,
And you want to play those D ranked players if
for
you're
sure.
not that good. Because if you're playing the C, the B, A, or S, you're that may be out of your wheelhouse.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I got on there and instantly was getting wrecked. I was like, yeah, I'm out of here.
So from the Mortal Kombat 2, which was the first one you got, how did your collection progress from there? What did
Ooh,
you acquire next?
after what did I get after MK2? Uh, oh, you know what? After MK2, I had picked up a Donkey Kong that I had for a while. Had that Donkey Kong here for a good while. Played it a lot. Nobody played it but me. I used to love to just have the cabinet on, and I used to love to just stare at it. I thought that cabinet was just so beautiful, the artwork on it, and just hearing all the noises that it would make on its attract mode, would remind me of just being a kid. Um, but I ended up selling that one to get a Killer Instinct cabinet. And then that Killer Instinct cabinet, I ended up trading that one for a Mortal Kombat 4. And then just, it just turned into just a huge like snowball effect. And I just started picking them up here, picking them up there. And then after a while, I just would look for them empty because I get enjoyment out of, you know, getting them when they're at their worst state, and then completely restoring them, back to their original form, and making that screen nice and bright again, and having fresh buttons and joysticks and stuff like that. So I have a lot of fun whenever I do these restorations. The only thing is that during the summertime, it gets very, very hot here. Our highs in summer are 120 sometimes. It can get up
Yeah,
to. And so during the summer, it's hard to get these restorations done because you're out here in the heat, you're sanding, you're painting, you're applying artwork, and it does take a toll on you. So I try to, like, these two projects that I have with that empty Mortal Kombat 1 cabinet and that Guitar Hero that I'm gonna build. I'm gonna do those early spring so that way I can just beat the heat. Um, and have that. And then after that, I'm pretty much done as far as builds. I'm completely out of room. I don't have room for. I could probably squeeze one more in here.
cabaret.
Yeah, some. Oh yeah, I would love a cabaret cabinet. Um, and then I actually have an empty cabinet in my storage unit, and I have a PCB for the game Columns
Hmm.
that I loved since I was a kid. The first time I played it was on Sega Genesis on the Cart six pack. I don't know if you
Yeah,
remember that one.
I have
And
one.
oh yeah, I just that everything, all six games on there were amazing. So whenever I was a kid, I played a bunch of columns, and I didn't even know that they had a cabinet for it. So I
Elder
sourced a.
Ghost has one.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta go
And
up there.
Blockseed.
Oh, really?
That's both games are in the same cabinet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
Well,
love board
TGA,
game
yes.
games. Yeah,
Tetris
just puzzle
ripoff.
games are great.
Um, yes, Columns. First experience with Columns when I went to college. Before I won the Nintendo Campus Challenge National Championship, there was a Sega Genesis college tournament, and
Ooh.
Columns was heavily featured in this tournament in the multiple scoring rounds. And I didn't win, of course. I got second place at my campus, but I don't even know who won the whole thing. But
It's a very fun game, and anybody watching, if you haven't played it, I suggest that you play it. I personally, yeah, I love puzzle games. Um, I'm a big fan of Tetris as well, but I prefer Columns over Tetris. I love the soundtrack of Columns. I just think it's a fun game. I have a lot of fun on that game.
and this guy has crashed the stream.
Uh
He was going to do it sooner or later.
oh.
45 minutes in, and Cody has crashed the stream once more. Once again. Here we go. So, our placement wants to know, how did you find the MK4?
The MK4, actually, I got that one locally. A buddy of mine named Joey, he had it in his collection. He had a couple of games in his collection, and then I had that Killer Instinct cabinet. And so I wasn't really too fond of Killer Instinct. So I had posted it on one of the arcade groups for trade for a Mortal Kombat 4, and he messaged me and he's like, "Man, we're in the same town." So that literally that night when I got off of work, loaded it up in my truck, went over there, and we did the even swap and brought it back, and it's been here in the collection ever since.
And you still have a Killer Instinct.
Yes, I
Is that
just
a different
recently
one?
did another one. Yeah, I recently did another one.
So, which do you prefer? So, MK versus, gosh, I just wrote this thumb down. Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter versus Tekken versus King of Fighters. What else is there? Um, Might as well throw
Ooh,
in Killer Instinct.
yeah,
Um,
there's
they're
so
all
many.
they're all separate series.
Yeah.
But why did you decide? Well, yeah, I think you already answered. Why did you decide Mortal Kombat? It's because of the digitized actors and the
Yes, the realism
realism.
one was amazing.
Well, although the realism, if you go to MK1, it's like, how realistic is the injuries that the characters are sustaining, and
Yeah,
yet they're still fighting, not hampered by the damage they took until
yeah,
the finish him shows up, and then it's like, okay, these characters are getting dismembered, grinded into, I guess, hamburger and stuff. They're being stabbed, they're being shot, they're being rocket attacked. It's like, how realistic is this? And it's like the violence is like so over the top now.
oh yeah.
So I guess I should ask you your thoughts on the evolution of the MK series.
So far I've loved everything that they have done. I do feel like there is fumbles here and there. And I'm talking about you sub mythologies. But I think with Mortal Kombat mythologies, I think what drew people away from the game was that it had a separate button to turn the character around. I
Mm,
feel that if they would have never had that, they would have just had it to where when an enemy was coming, the character would automatically flip over. Um, I think that that would have been for better gameplay, and the game could have been better than what it was. But for me personally, Mortal Kombat 2 is just my all time favorite. I really love what they did with MK9 when they rebooted it. I think that that game is completely amazing. I feel like they went to the true core of what the game is, just from top to bottom. The presentation of the game, I remember the trailer being amazing. Just MK9 was amazing, and MK11 is also a big favorite of mine. I love that game too. The new Mortal Kombat 1, I haven't played much of it. It just, I don't know, it feels weird because everything is so moved around, as far as the characters and stuff like that. So I can't speak too much on MK1. I don't have too much experience with it, but from 11 down, I believe that they're all really great games.
I see. I was going to bring that up. Mortal Kombat 1. There's been a lot of chatter about that one, that
Yeah.
game. Um, is it going to continue to receive updates and new content, or is it done, and they're going to move on to the next new Mortal Kombat 2,
Yeah.
or whatever the heck they're going to call the next game? Because there's already a Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah.
There's already a Mortal Kombat 1, but they just called MK1. It's just like the original Mortal Kombat has no number after it.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, hopefully, we start getting, because there's a lot of games that would, I feel like deserve to be remastered. A lot of other games that deserve to be put on either the PlayStation store or the Xbox store, for people to play. I feel like there's a lot of missed opportunities for sure that they just haven't put any spotlight on.
I guess for what you probably watched gameplayers of
Mhm.
MK1, correct? So there's been, gosh, a lot of chatter. I think the most recent big fuss was over a female Cyrex and Sector.
Oh yeah, yeah,
People were complaining about that, yet they were heaping praise on the introduction of Janet Cage, which was a female swapped John Cage. It's
yeah.
like, but the original Android, Cyrax and Sector were still in the game as cameos. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on. It just left. What are your thoughts on MK1 from what you've seen, but not necessarily had hands on?
I honestly feel that a lot of the guest characters, I feel like we could do without. Like, I don't know anybody who has ever told me, hey, who would be awesome in Mortal Kombat? Conan. Or anybody who, hey, I would be cool to see Scorpion fight RoboCop.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a whole list of characters that they haven't brought back from previous games that I feel deserve to be pushed on to the to the new players, because of course with Mortal Kombat, every day I believe that a new fan is made, whether it's to the originals or what they're doing now. um just like when they had Floyd, they had the secret fight with the a pink ninja, and it's
Pink
like,
Floyd.
yeah, it's like I get the reference is hilarious, just like what they did with Rain, how he was of course Prince. um but I feel like there's just way more other characters that I feel that could have been brought back, and rejuvenated to the newer viewers and players and stuff. But um
Like who?
Ooh, let me see. Let me just go to like I do believe like in like Mortal Kombat 4, a lot of people don't like Kai. I think Kai would have been a really great character to go back more into his backstory. Like Striker, we haven't seen Striker since MK9. They brought him back as a cameo, but it's like, it would have been nice to get him in the more modern games, like what they did with like how in MK Armageddon they brought back Muntaro, but he only had two legs. And with what they can do now, it would have been cool to have him as a sub boss again, and have that big mean centaur that made all of us that were young who played it excited and scared at the same time.
Although Motaro comes in as a cameo.
Yeah, yeah, and he looks smaller than what he did, and so there's I feel like there's a lot of stuff that could have been done. Um, but yeah, so they're mentioned MK9 turned out much better than expected. Yeah, I honestly feel that MK9 was just an amazing game all the way around.
Where do you see Mortal Kombat going after MK1?
Oh, I don't know. It seems like every couple of games they change the story. Like a problem that I always had is like with Jax. It's how many times is one guy gonna lose his arms? So it's like every game, or even in the movies, he's lost his arms different ways. So it's kind of like, I wish that there was more consistency on what they did, and especially how if they were to make the movies more parallel with the game. uh just like in the reboot of the Mortal Kombat movie, all of a sudden we got this guy named Cole that comes out of nowhere. He's never been hinted at any of the games or anything like that, so it's kind of like, okay, well, who is this guy and where does he fall in the MK universe? Unless they have it to where they're just two completely universes. But it's kind of weird that you have a game and a movie of the same franchise and they're not parallel, if that makes sense.
I know Street Fighter threw a character into the game that, well, he only appears in Street Fighter the movie arcade game, but he doesn't appear in any other Street Fighter game. And he was like introduced in the movie. This cat is being a problem. Cody, you can either stay or go. This idiot. Yeah, he has to crash the stream. He has to be the center of attention. I was like, he supposedly sat down, then he got up, and then now he wants to wants to jump in and out of my lap repeatedly all of a sudden. He doesn't want to settle down. But I don't know. What do you expect? He's a ginger.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, gosh, I didn't even talk about the restoration process. So, how much did you have to learn on your own, or did you have help restoring a game?
As far as restoring them, with the how to what sandpapers to use, which paints and stuff like that, I always credit Mike from your NK Arcade Source, because I would binge watch his videos of just everything that he did. And before I even picked up a cabinet, when I first found his channel, I had no idea you can actually own an arcade cabinet at home. And so as far as body work and stuff like that on the cabinets, I learned 90% of everything that I know from his channel. And then of course, as I got more into the hobby and started doing it, I came up with my own little styles and stuff like that of how to do things and things that work for me. But as far as the internals, like I said, I just ordered the manuals for the arcade cabinets, and I would just read through them and to find out, all right, this wire needs to go here, because when you open up these cabinets, there are hundreds of wires inside of them. You got one that's yellow with the blue stripe, you got one that's black with the red stripe, you got one that's green with the purple stripe. So it's a challenge sometimes, to put them all together, but especially when you get a game that's been converted,
Hmm.
that they took all the, and then sometimes when they converted them, they cut things that they didn't have to cut.
Yeah.
So whenever I got my Mortal Kombat 1 cabinet, and they turned it into a Tekken, and so they started cutting all these wires off of the JAMA harness and stuff. So it's like, you left me no meat on the bone. So I had to order another harness, and then just completely rebuild it from the ground up with all the wiring and stuff. So but I have a lot of fun doing it. I feel like it's very rewarding. And whenever I post the videos, whether it gets 1,000 views or 2 views, as long as someone enjoyed watching it as much as I did making it, for me, that's all that matters.
Now, and Dark Hater Shack has joined us in the stream. Welcome in. Um, so what was easier for you to work on, the electronics or the cabinet, the wood, and I guess the painting, or
Ooh, I would
cabinet work,
say,
or the electronics?
I would say probably, that's a tough one. But if I had to choose one, I would say probably the body work would probably be more of the pain, than the actual, because there's parts that are not, uh that nobody reproduces certain brackets
Hmm.
that are needed for these cabinets. If you get one and it has a beat up coin door, now you got to source a coin door somewhere. I actually started a Facebook group called Mortal Kombat slash Killer Instinct Arcade Cabinet Collectors. And so that group, it's just mainly focused on people who deal with these midway style cabinets. So that way, it's just a haven for anybody selling parts and stuff like that. It's just a one stop shop for someone that's getting into the hobby, and they're looking for parts or art or even the PCBs and stuff like that. So it's been a fun ride so far.
That's called Mortal Kombat slash Killer Instinct and All Games Midway, or is it something else?
Yes, that one's it. Yeah.
That one's it. I got
Hmm.
it. I'm gonna throw this up here
Definitely.
so everybody can see it. If anybody go to banners, create a banner, and then I throw this up here. Paste. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to copy down the freaking number. You haven't been able to put a name on this. You haven't this. You have a nickname, or have you been able to
On
use
that
a?
one, let's see. Oh, here, look, I will go ahead and I will, um on that one, I don't believe it's a private group, but I do believe you have to be a member to see it.
To the
um
URL? Okay.
yeah, I can go ahead and,
That's weird because like I stuck a name on it. Huh? Hmm. I had joined. I do not.
oh, look, there you are, right there. I'll go ahead and approve you right now. There you go.
Okay, let's see. I'm gonna hit refresh. It didn't change the name. It still has the group number. Oh well. Yeah, I get a URL shortener, maybe tice.cc or bit.ly or one of those. They put a name on it just to make it easier to track down. Gosh. So I guess so. You say the bodywork on the cabinet's harder. So, but electronics, have you had to do a lot of electronic repair on any of these,
Oh yeah.
like the
Yeah, some of
boards or the
them.
monitors.
Yeah, so the monitor work it's I'm still kind of a newbie when it comes to monitor work. I know enough to get by and enough to get the actual, the game work, well, the monitor to show picture and stuff like that. I can't diagnose everything yet. But so far, what I've learned off of, again, speaking of Mike from K Arcade Source, he actually has another YouTube channel called Mike's Amateur Arcade Monitor Repair. And
Mhm.
so that one, he just breaks down all of the symptoms that a monitor can have when it has certain issues. So again, I go to his channel whenever I have any issues with any of the monitors, and something that I can't figure out myself, and then I'll just watch everything he's doing and just pretty much copy what he's doing. So he's been a big help to me on this journey of these arcade cabinets.
Because I can barely use a soldering iron right now. If I had to work on the circuit board, or if I had to install a cap kit on the monitor, I can't do it because I don't know how, and I don't want to try
Yeah.
and make it worse because I have no idea what I'm doing. I can solder a wire onto, like, I don't know. I can do the control panel because that's easy, and just put the buttons on and then insert, kind of match up the JAMA wiring. Or
Yeah,
then that's
soldering
it.
can be very tedious.
And I need
The
3 hands to do it, not 2. I
Yeah,
need 3. I need one to hold the wire, one to hold the soldering iron, and whatever else.
yeah, one
Another
applying the
to
flux,
get the
and
solder.
yeah, yeah, it's challenging, and when you first get into it, it can be very overwhelming. The very first monitor that I ever attempted to do a cap kit on was a Go7 out of a Pac-Man,
Mm-hmm.
and I messed it up. I was putting the heat too long on it. I started burning the pads and stuff, and I ended up having to just order one from somebody that was already rebuilt. The
Mm-hmm.
guy was like, "Look, send me the one that you messed up. I'll rebuild that one, and then I'll give you, a discount on this one." And so, and then, as I started, collecting more, I just had to, because that's a main thing of this hobby. These cabinets are, some are 30-year-old cabinets, some are even older than that.
Yeah.
So anything that's that old, electronic wise, you're gonna have to baby it.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of people ask me as well if I leave my cabinets on all the time. That I don't. Number one, my
No, you
electricity
can't.
bill would be crazy, and yeah, things would just start. Fuses would start going out, and caps would start to burst, and if I left them on that long, especially with the heat that we get down here, because if I'm not in here during the summer, the AC is not on.
Yeah.
Um, so
The other problem is screen burning.
yes, screen burn for sure.
Mine are not on all the time. It's only on when I go in there.
Yeah.
Now, I have a heating cooling unit in this garage because I'm up in central Illinois and it's in the teens outside. Oh, it's only 10 degrees out. Yeah,
Whoa.
we had snow yesterday. Um, I know Texas doesn't get snow all that as much as we do,
No.
although a few weeks ago a blizzard kind of hit parts of the country that normally see a bunch of snow. Basically, New Orleans got a blizzard.
Yes.
Tallahassee, Florida got a blizzard. Probably, gosh, all the way down to the Gulf Coast, snow on the ground.
Yeah.
Beaches were covered in snow. It was like, wow, that,
Yeah. It
you
it,
don't
it
see
gets
that.
crazy. Yeah, we had whenever that hit, that was 2 weeks ago, I want to say, something like that.
Yeah,
And we got about 2 days of at 20 degrees, which down here in Texas, when it gets to 20 degrees, people start freaking out because down here none of our cars have snow tires or anything like that. It's rare.
yeah,
Back in 2020, snow had hit here in Texas, and it snowed for like a week. and the city, I mean the state pretty much had to shut down.
Because you don't
From
have snow plows.
Yeah, so everybody had to wait it out. People were without electricity and water for days, even after the aftermath of it. People started uh, barely getting their electricity and their water and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it gets pretty crazy, and it's funny because we had that where it got down to 20 degrees, and then all last week we were in the high 80s.
Yeah. Well, we had a week ago, it was like in the 60s. And then, of course, a few days later, it just plunged.
Yeah.
You also had to deal with pipes freezing and blowing
Yes.
up. That's
Yeah.
another big concern because the pipes will get through it if it cools down gradually. But if it's a flash freeze,
Yeah.
you're kind of screwed.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Let's see.
Yeah, and in here in my
This
garage, I
boy.
do by the next to my Mortal Kombat 4 cabinet, I do have a water heater in here. But I have leak detectors all the way around it. So if it feels a drop of water, those leak detectors start to go off and they sound like smoke detectors. They just constantly beep. So
Mhm.
that way, and then all of my games also, I do have them on casters. So they're about 2 inches off the ground. So Lord forbid that water heater ever leaks or something like that.
Or
The
you have a
cat,
hurricane going through.
yeah, or we have something like that come through. Lord forbid. Um, but yeah, but no, it's been so far I haven't had to deal with any water damage that something that I owned caused to any of my cabinets so far. Hopefully, it stays that way.
You're on the ground level. They're not in the basement, so risk of flooding in the basement's probably not as big of a deal, not a big of a risk. But if
Yeah, I
there's a
think my worst case scenario would probably be like a tsunami, and I'm like in
yeah,
the middle of Texas, so yeah, I think there'd be way bigger issues.
what arcades have you been to down in the Texas state of Texas?
Ooh, as far as down here, I've been to there's one called Pinballs. That's about 30 minutes from me. It's in a small town called Buda. That's just a little bit on the outskirts of Austin.
Hmm.
There they have a huge selection of arcade games, classics. They also have a bunch of pinballs. And I love pinball cabinets. Whenever I do run across them, I'll make sure that I stop and I'll play them, especially if there's a T2 there. Um, but
But you
that
don't
one,
have a pinball.
I don't, not yet. I want one. I really do, but haven't found a deal on one yet. And hopefully this year at some point I'll be able to find one, especially a T2. I really want a T2.
But the arcades you've been to, you had this pinball place. Any others?
There's one in San Antonio that we sometimes go to. It's called Diversions.
Hmm.
It's been there for years. It's one of the older arcades that are close to me, and but that one they do have a lot of games, but they have a more of a bigger selection of redemption games now.
Yeah.
They don't have too many classics.
Have you been to this place?
Free play? No, I have not.
That's in Dallas.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, I have not.
Okay. Have you ever been to the Galloping Ghost in
No,
Chicago?
I want to. That is one place that I hope I get to go to one day. I've seen so many videos and tours of the Galloping Ghost, and hopefully one day. And if I ever go, I'm definitely gonna vlog it and make a video about my first time being there for sure.
Because the first I did listen to the first couple episodes of your podcast. Galloping Ghost got mentioned multiple times, and
Hmm.
certain gamers that are frequent there did get dropped. So I was kind of happy to hear that,
Yeah, if we
even
ever
though
make it
I've
out
never
there.
been there.
Yeah, well, if we ever get to me and my buddy Matt, we want to meet up out there. And yeah, if we ever go, we'll let you know. You can meet up with us and hang out and yeah, enjoy some arcade cabinets.
So if you go out there, you need about 2 full days to get the full experience. You probably need 3.
Wow.
Because now they're sitting at 1,026 arcade games on the floor. They thought they were going to stop and putting more games on the floor because they're out of room, and then they're going to transition over to the Vault series, but they're going to put a few more games on the floor because they've managed to squeak out a little bit more room, but we'll have to see. They unveiled Kicker this week,
Oh, okay.
which is a beat 'em up Konami from 1984 or 5, also known as Shaolin Road, and you're more likely to play it on a 16-1 cabinet.
Ah, okay.
Now, you say you got rid of that Donkey Kong. You said you were the only one that played it.
Yeah,
Which
nobody
is
else.
surprising. Because I know there's a vast Donkey Kong arcade scene.
Oh yeah, it's huge. But down here with my collection, as far as the household, I'm really the only one that that did play it. Whenever I do have friends or family come over, the game here that everybody likes to flock to is on the Blitz cabinet. It has NBA Showtime. So everybody flocks around that one, and yeah, we play that one for hours and hours whenever people come over. My wife gets involved, my daughter's boyfriend, my buddies that are here, and we just make a big competition out of it, and just everybody's playing in teams, and so yeah, that game gets a lot of play. And once I get done with the Guitar Hero build, I believe that one's also going to get a lot of play from people and friends that come over.
Okay. So tell me about the podcast. That's the new one. You're only 4 episodes in.
Correct.
You've had Carlos Bacino on. You have, I'm guessing, another Mortal Kombat actor to come on the podcast at some point. I have been holding back on asking any of the MK actors or to come on my podcast because I'm thinking I'm not big enough yet.
Oh no,
you're pretty much you're starting from scratch, and then you've already got an MK celebrity on the podcast, and it's probably because you've bought several of their autographs, so maybe they.
Yeah. Well, with Carlos Pacina, I had of course I've always known who he is, but on Instagram, we have a pretty good following on Instagram, and Carlos would always like our post and comment on our stuff. So one day I just I was like, let me just shoot my shot. He's just gonna either say no or yes. So surprisingly, he said yes, and then we just started talking in a private chat, just going back and forth, and he ended up doing it with us the episode, and it was a very fun episode, and it was great because whenever we did the episode, before the episode started, we talked to him for about a good 30-45 minutes, talked about things we were going to cover, did the 2.5-hour episode, and then we were done. He stayed around and talked to us for another 2 hours. So
goodness.
Yeah,
don't want to do a 4-hour podcast.
Yeah, it was fun though, because we had so much. I've so many questions that I had for him since being a kid. That so every question that I could have asked him, I asked him. And so we actually got a couple of more that are for sure of actors that are going to be featured here very soon. But we're just having fun, just 2 regular guys that a game that played a huge part in our life growing up, and just it's fun to be able to interview these people that they're superheroes to us. So it's really cool, and it's been a very fun journey so far.
What is your Grail game?
Ooh, my Grail game would be a T2 cabinet, the shooter one. And then the pinball would be. I really want both of those side by side. here in the garage. But yeah, T2 is my Grail game.
Okay, so you're looking for the arcade game and the pinball together. So if anybody's got a Terminator 2 arcade game or pinball, Jojo is looking for one.
Yes, for sure.
If you can fit it into the garage.
Oh, if I were to get those two, I'd make room for sure. Even if I had to build on.
What are your future goals?
Ooh, that's a good one. I've never really thought about that. I'm just, enjoying the ride as it goes. Eventually I would really love to open up an arcade here in my town because we have nothing like that here. But the thing that gets me is, these cabinets, I've put a lot of, blood, sweat, and tears into them. I don't think I can handle a 5-year-old or 6-year-old stranger hanging from the joysticks or, kicking in the front plate of the cabinet and stuff like that. So, but as far as the podcast, the goal is just to have fun, and just, talk to as many people as we can and just, expand the hobby because we're kind of trying to touch two bases to where we are bringing the Mortal Kombat community together with the arcade community together as one. So it's like I said, it's been very fun and hopefully we can get to talk to every actor from the original game series.
I should have threw this up here earlier. The Wicked Arcade is on YouTube, and then the new podcast and let's see, who's Tadruis?
He
That's
is
the last one.
he is the co-creator of the Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 Plus series.
Oh, that's okay. So he
Yeah.
was the one who did the hack on
Yes.
the original MK boards.
Yes.
What do you think of the plus versions?
Actually,
MK 1, 2, and 3.
Well, my UMK3, it's actually a dedicated Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 Plus. It has a custom MK3 Plus marquee on top. It has a custom bezel, custom side art. I love what he's done with the updates and stuff that he's doing and fixing all of the bugs that were still left on the table from the original. Everything that him and his team are doing, I love it and completely stand behind it for sure.
I know too many arcades have it. Gavin Ghost certainly doesn't. I don't know if they ever will get it, but well, maybe one of the local arcades can get it. But you have to order the chips and then do a ROM swap. I'm assuming.
It's a ROM swap, and that's the great thing about it. How you're able to update a board that's 25 years old or older to be able to still bring new life to it because he is adding a bunch of new stuff to the game, new playing modes, new Easter eggs throughout the game. So it's an amazing build what he's doing for sure.
What's your high score on the original Mortal Kombat? Because there's been some fighting over the world record recently.
Ooh, that's a good question too.
Or have you ever gotten to play Reptile in the original Mortal Kombat?
I've fought Reptile before, but not on my cabinet. Since I've had this cabinet, I don't think I've ever seen him pop up. I might have a later revision.
Well, the earlier revisions didn't have him. The later ones had him, so you have not encountered him yet.
Yeah, I have not. Yeah, he hasn't even popped up on me before. So yeah, I might have an earlier revision.
No, he was added later. The current world record for Mortal Kombat, and that was grabbed by Chris Plackey not too long ago. Actually, December 3rd, 2024, 24,360,000. And you have to, and for the score to be valid, you have to start a game cold. You cannot start a new game off of somebody else's continue because the test your might progresses upward at 5 levels. Starting a new game, it um, starts from wood and then progresses up. But if you exceed the steel level of difficulty, you have to throw it out because there are 5 levels, and you can only get to the steel and the diamond material off of starting a new game off of somebody else's continuum.
Yeah, I've never looked at. That's actually that threw a light bulb up for me. So since I'm not able to, do any tournament fightings, I should probably get in to try to beat that score.
There's also time attacks for MK2 and MK3.
Yeah.
Jeez, who's got the score? I'm gonna I'm gonna check that right now because I'm curious who. Let's see, what's the time attack? Well, for MK3, let's go MK3. Oh, they don't have a score on this. Are you kidding me? Wow. The original the Mortal Kombat 3, there's not a time on it. 7 minutes 33 seconds is the fastest 1cc on the MK2. Gee, I wonder what a ultimate is. Well, I know what MK4 has a time attack as well. Chris Blackie has that at 4 minutes and 45 seconds.
Wow.
Well, 4:46, rounded up a little bit.
Wow. That is crazy fast.
Yeah. But I've played Mortal Kombat and I'm not that good at it, and somehow the practicing for a Blade Wars tournament is like computer still kicks my tail. I don't know how these other people do it, but I don't know. I can't pull off the special moves every time. Some of the time they don't register, even though I put the inputs in.
Yeah. And that's one of the great things about the Plus series is what they added. They added longer fatality time. So on there's a couple of my videos where I started doing playthroughs where I attempted the fatality like 4 times before I actually got it, which is funny. But yeah, they were able to extend that fatality time, which helps a lot of us a lot. But the thing with especially UMK3, it's not really I don't want to say it's not a skill based game, but it's more of tricking the AI, to find all those exploits. Because I'm sure that the record for the UMK3 is held with smoke, with robot smoke, because you can do where you jump back, you do your teleport, uppercut, rinse, wash, and repeat. So yeah, it's more about exploiting what you can to be able to to go through it.
The fastest time for Ultimate MK3 is 6 minutes 33 seconds by a person named Nick Matthews. Who's your main?
Ooh, my main on UMK3 would be Reptile, MK2 Baraka, MK1 Scorpion, MK4 Johnny Cage.
So you have a different main on all 4 every wow. So see, now here's my issue. I typically gravitate towards Ryu or Ken on every Street Fighter. Because that's the easiest one to pick up. I don't have such a character for any of the Mortal Kombat. Now, the one I would have used would have been Noob Sabat.
Oh, there you
he's
go.
only available for the console version.
Yeah.
Not the arcade game. Because you can jump through the sky, grab him, and then slam him to the ground.
Yeah.
And then you can low kick for a combo only.
Yeah, you just spam low kick, and his moves are he's so overpowered. Whenever I play people on the trilogy cabinet, because Noob Saibot is playable in the trilogy cabinet, I usually have my kids pick them, and I look, this is the moves and stuff like that to give him a little bit of a chance. He's also on the UMK3 Plus version.
Yeah.
instantly unlocked, which is really cool.
Yeah. I knew that portion. Noob Sabad is on the list. All the MKs past that, past 4, and if he's available, that's the one I typically will use. I've tried to figure out something to use for MK1 or MK2 or 3, and it's like, I don't know. I've tried Raven, or no, I tried Liu Kang first, then I tried Raiden, got nowhere. I'm now on Sub-Zero because I
Yeah,
can quarter circle and throw an ice ball at somebody
yeah.
and do a. This guy's up here again. Do a slide kick, but I didn't really get a chance to put that to the test. So I don't know.
Yeah, one of the best things, whenever I started doing because I started doing playthroughs where I did on my Mortal Kombat 1, I did every character, and then I had like a little voting thing going on the YouTube channel to where I would post four different characters, and I would say, all right, y'all, whoever gets the most votes, that's who we'll do the playthrough as. And so whenever they would pick somebody I wasn't too familiar with, I would just do homework and I would go on YouTube and I would, just see, methods that people are using and stuff like that. So that's how I was able to get through a lot of the playthroughs in a relatively easy time. Because with let's say, I'm not really too good with Kung Lao on MK2. So normally, if I didn't look up the move sets, not necessarily the move sets, but like special little tricks to do, it could have been a 2-hour playthrough. But looked up little tricks and stuff like that to get me through.
All right. Anything else that we ought to know about you
I think
as
we
a
pretty much
gamer?
covered it all.
Because I wanted to go like at least somewhere between 1 and 2 hours, but I didn't want to go super long because
No, it's perfectly fine.
when I did the round tables, they ended up going well over 3 hours. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot longer than I wanted, but I only kept it to an hour and a half last week, and looks like it'll be an hour and a half this week, and that's good because like I get long winded. Now I wrote down some stuff to bring up, but they weren't super extensive. So,
Yeah.
but well, if you make it up to the Galvin Ghost Arcade, yeah, send a note and let me know you're coming. And although I have to travel 200 miles to get up there,
Ooh wee.
yes, I have the year pass, so I'm going there this weekend for 3 days. Yeah, I have to get a hotel room because I don't. The 1 day trips are brutal.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
Yes.
Usually when you get there, how packed it is? Is it?
Saturday is when it's the most crowded, and maybe a holiday.
Yeah, because now that
But
place is pretty much a tourist attraction.
yes, it's
To
a
where
tour.
people, yeah,
It is is a destination place,
for sure.
and I've been going there since 2013. I've won 4 different championships at Calvin Ghost Arcade. I'm one of their um, former Gamers of the Year, and now we got challenge cards. And right now, I don't know what title I can actually go after right now because they canceled the Pinball Expo Championship, which
Oh
I was
no.
set to defend. Uh, I don't know about Gamer of the Year again because other people have completed 2 or 3 of the challenge cards, and I have a game on my challenge card left that seems to only partially work. And that would be
Mm.
Good Fight because this game has a 48 position joystick and it has to be constantly recalibrated because you push one direction and it would stop moving. It just face that direction, but not go anywhere. So, and this goofball just tried to bite me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
But
this is him crashing the stream, is taking a bite. Anyway, go ahead.
No, but I really do appreciate you for having me on. Thank you very much, and we'll definitely have you on the Kombat Dads, and that way the roles can be reversed, and we'll interview you and get to know you a little bit more, and we'll talk about all your achievements and stuff like that. That would be great. And if you have any plaques and stuff like that, bring them along.
Oh, I have trophies. I have belts. They're sitting on a shelf, and we'll probably just send the camera around and show off the different things in the room.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely do something in the future very, very soon.
All right. Do you have a trading card yet?
I don't. I remember I had talked to Walter about that. And I was supposed to be on the MK2 one. But due to a bunch of two of them. Nice.
Yeah, I have two of them.
Nice.
I do have an announcement about next week's guest. I don't have the slideshow up here, but I might as well. I have to advance it up to it, but oh gosh, let me get up here. Here we go. Let me show it. Hide this. So this is next week's podcast. Yeah, that's me standing in front of a wall of cards. Well, wow. This picture was taken, a decade ago at least. This is in Tumble, Iowa. They had, I guess, an art gallery of the trading cards, and Billy Mitchell was there. All the usual suspects that hang around Walter Day were there. But I'm going to get about 2 or 3 people that are on Walter Day trading cards and have a round table next week.
Amazing. I can't wait to watch. I will definitely be in the chat.
I don't have my guests lined up yet, but I've had several people volunteering, so I just have to reach out to all of them. I just did not. I don't know. I got my head stuck in doing some activities, several activities last weekend, and then this weekend I was like, even though I had Wednesday off, I was busy. Although
that's usually how it goes.
Although in the afternoon, I made my way to an arcade in Springfield, and because you can throw $5 down and have an all-day pass to their little arcade in the back at a record store.
Nice.
So that's what I did. But I also had to prepare for your review and watch some videos, and so that was my day.
Yeah, it's usually when you have a day off.
And it snowed, too.
Yeah, you got snow. At what, 10 degrees right now?
10 degrees outside. Well, it went up to 11.
Right now, here we are sitting at, let's see, I'll be able to tell you right now. I think we're like at 40-something degrees.
Balmy.
So is it 41 degrees right now? And tomorrow.
Balmy 41.
Yeah, our weather is insane. Saturday is going to be 75. And then Monday's actually my birthday, so we're going to do something Saturday here at the house. So it'll be pretty nice weather. But again, I really appreciate you for having me on. It means the world, and I can't wait to hang out again for sure.
All right, Jojo. Hope to see you around the arcade soon, and have a good night.
You too. Thank you, everybody.
All right. That was Jojo Robles. Before we get out of here, a little bit of let me just run down all this stuff before we get out of here. So I've been on the hunt for whoever's been involved in these, because I'm getting all sorts of ads for gaming addiction. It's all these law firms can't wait to file lawsuits against video game companies. But so far, I haven't found anybody willing to appear for an interview that are involved in these. I don't know why. Oh no, they don't, I know why they don't want to do the interview. It's because they don't want to have to defend their position because it kind of seems absurd on the surface. I mean, I may address this relatively soon, but please follow me on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Crimeycade. I need to get to 100 followers, and I'm a long way off. So these are the new house highs and world records at the Gambling Ghost Arcade. Everything's kind of cooled off up there. We haven't had much in the way of score chasing going on. Andrew, of course, is extending his house high at emergency call ambulance, getting 20,000, just breaking the 20,000 mark. He has not quite won CC'd yet. He also pushed the high for Lightbringer, 927 or 920,000 points, well above the T20 score. That was a game that was unveiled 2 weeks ago. Chris Blackie, the newest fighting game on the arcade floor, Savage Rain, he has gotten 261,000 points. But as you can see, the last couple of weeks, there's only been, well, in the month of February, there's only been a couple of scores actually challenged and taken. But I hope to change all that when I go up there back to the Galloping Ghost Arcade, because I'm going to chase some scores. See if I can take a few of them. And chase for tokens. Andrew Wasco continues to increase his token haul, getting close to 9,700. Mossies is keeping he's putting some distance between me and him. Oh gosh, I dropped. I had this out of order. I've dropped back to 5th place. I've got to start, yeah. Well, I'm not in 4th. I'm in 5th. So I thought I had passed Jamie Tibbetts, but I moved up to the 3rd slot. But now I have some work to do. Oh well. Anyway, game of the month, Arcade Wars, Mill Slug. Only one score put in. 4 different arcades have only put in one score. That top one there looks like a 1cc. Now I was practicing Mill Slug. Got almost the 300,000. Couldn't get over it. Once I get on the actual arcade cabinet, we'll see how it goes. But that's the game of the month for the original Neo Geo. So JP Pitts has been indecisive as to what game to do for the next Blade Wars tournament. Seems to be an issue with the Headless Horseman. There was supposed to be Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, but that appears to be off at this moment. So we don't know what's going on with the Headless Horseman. I don't know what happened. So as of this time, the Headless Horseman appearance, Blade Wars at the Headless Horseman is in limbo right now. We'll have to see what's going to happen. Maybe we'll get some information this weekend as to what will go down. But originally they announced Mortal Kombat 1 for March the 22nd, Saturday, 2 p.m. Is originally Mortal Kombat 1 again. But JP has decided he's going to go with Tekken 7 now. So Tekken 7, and by the way, it's not on the Galloping Ghost arcade floor. So do they have a Tekken 7 arcade cabinet? Or is it going to be on the console? Don't know. I know Tekken 7 got an arcade release. However, it's in one of those setups where You can't do 2 players on one candy cab. It has to be on 2 separate cabs. I don't know why. I don't know why Street Fighter 5 is set up like that. I don't know why this popped up on my screen. But Tekken 7 will be the next Blade Wars game at Galapagos Arcade or somewhere else nearby. I don't know. $35 to enter. Yikes. That's pretty big. That's be a good cash prize. Now, I've been playing Tekken 5, and by the way, I made it over to Dumb Records. I played Tekken 5 over there. Nina Williams is my main on the Tekken series, so I'll be playing Nina Williams in Tekken 7. Now, she has a few extra moves, and I may have to learn those. I'll have to pull out my copy of Tekken 3 and do the practice on that, because I bet the moveset is very similar, if not identical, but with a few extras. And if you're in the Chicago area, Orland Park, the Let's Go Retro Gaming Expo 2025, Sunday, February 23rd, at the Civic Center. There'll be plenty of vendors over there. I don't know if Galvin Ghost is going, but I know Todd Freeman is going there. And this, who will show up? Who will be at the Midwest Gaming Classic? They're announcing guests left and right as we're closing in on the Midwest Gaming Classic. And, I'm going to have to go through the tournaments and start practicing some of the games that I will be airing the tournaments for. So at least I have a chance. NBA Jam Tournament Edition, I need to practice that one. For the Super Nintendo, by the way. If I can get real good at that, maybe I'll win the guitar this year. If they give away a guitar, that is. And then 2 weeks later, the Como Retro Game Convention in Columbia, Missouri. I may be going to that again. They're in a new location. C2E2, by the way, is in between this. I don't know if I'm going. It doesn't look like I will be. And this is next week. Mystery guest. I will have 2 or 3 people on trading cards coming in next week. I start some notes out. After this podcast, see who I can round up. I've had several people message me interested, so I'm going to get this arranged, and there'll be an update on this as to who will be appearing on the podcast. But this is me like over a decade ago up in Atomo, Iowa, and me standing in front of all these trains. Oh, looky here. There's a Calvin Ghost card right here. Wow, I did not know there was one embedded, but I just now noticed that. I know I'm in here somewhere. I wonder if I can find myself in this thing. I haven't looked at this thing in quite some time, but I'm somewhere in this sea of pictures. But anyway, that's next week. So sure to join me next week here on the Crimeycade. Who we still have in here? I want to thank Dark Hater Shack, Jet Cogs, and Stupendous Man, that's Claudio Capello, for sticking with me tonight. I know we've had several other people who are in and out of the stream chat over the course of the podcast. I will raid a channel, and who am I going to raid tonight? For the 4th. Let's see, who's streaming tonight? do I want to give the same people the same raid? Wow, there's several people going tonight. But I'm going to raid. You know what? Since we talked about fighting games tonight, we're going to raid Licked Arcade. Who is play? And they're playing Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. So, until next time, I'm the Mad Conservative Crime Fighter. Hope to see you around the arcade soon, and have a good night, everybody.